Berkowitz is my name and politics is our game. And we will be doing lots of politics and public policy this evening because we have as our guest Paul McKinley. He is now the Republican nominee for Congress from the 2nd Congressional District. That's the special election on April 9th to replace Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. Robin Kelly, who is here on Public Affairs, won her primary, and Paul McKinley won his primary. He had 3 other, basically he would say 2 major opponents, but total of 3. There were 4 people running in the Republican primary. The Democrats had, I think, 16. And now the question is Robin Kelly going to debate Paul McKinley? Is she?
Well, I think that the machine will tell her to dodge me, run from me, stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? In the machine,
because you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee.
And
you want to use that? I give that to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna sting like a bee. I'm gonna sting like a bee. So my whole thing is that I do believe that they will try to evade the issues. That's the whole thing. They want to talk about way up in Washington. All politics are local.
Yeah, I think Tip O'Neill said that, right?
All
politics are ultimately local.
They're ultimately local.
But so is it about jobs? Because nobody was talking about that. Are you going to be talking about jobs with Robin Kelly? You should say, we're taping this on March 6th. You don't have a lot of time for this campaign. You got 33 days from today, right?
That's right. That's right.
And just today, the Illinois Board of Elections meeting today and tomorrow. You're saying today they decided basically you're the winner. They found one more vote for Eric Wallace. Right. You had won by 25 on election day. Right. You're saying you're 24 ahead. As far as you're concerned, it's over.
The race is over. I won.
Would Eric agree? Have you talked to him? Is he going to call you up and concede?
He has a choice to do what he wants to do. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on him. I want to spend all my time on my opponent.
Robin Kelly.
The machine.
Well, is your opponent Robin Kelly or is your opponent the machine?
My opponent is 2 different people. One is the king of New York, and the other one is the emperor of Chicago. Those are the 2 people I'm fighting.
Who's the emperor of Chicago?
Ron Caliglius Emmanuel.
Oh, yeah, Rom's okay. You're saying he's the machine?
He's the head of the machine. Okay, it can't function without him.
So he inherited this. Mayor Richard J. Daley was the machine. He handed it off, you would say, to Mayor Richard M. Daley, and then Mayor Richard M. Daley handed it off to Rahm Emanuel.
And Ron Emanuel is the second coming of the machine. He's the second coming of it.
But a lot of people think the machine is dead.
First of all,
the U.S. attorney went after a lot of those guys, put them in jail.
But the big fish got away.
You can't take the guys who you used to have on the city government and then go out. Maybe they did that for Rahm when he was running for Congress. He said he didn't know anything about it.
But the big fish got away. Mayor Daley got away. So since the big fish got away, then that seat, it's almost like the mafia. When all the Italians kept telling the government that there's a mafia, the government, not only did the government say it wasn't a mafia, the FBI said there wasn't no such thing. And that's how they're doing the machine. They're all saying, well, this machine talk is a bunch of rhetoric, a bunch of propaganda.
Opponent Rahm in Chicago. Then you said the guy in New York is your opponent?
Yeah, the king of
Who's
New
the
York.
King? Who's the king?
Well, that's Bloomberg.
Mayor Bloomberg.
Yeah, Mayor Bloomberg.
What does he have to do with you?
Well, see, Mayor Bloomberg, and this is an oddity. It's like that Rock'em Sock'em robots. It was a blue robot and it was a red robot. And so Bloomberg is a Republican. He
says he's an independent, I think, these days.
Well, he can try to invent himself.
But he's a Republican. Well, you should be friends. You're a Republican. He's a Republican.
That's the point I'm trying to show you, that he spent all that money with a Democrat. Now, there was
What was he? He was trying to knock out. He was trying to elect Robin Kelly because he didn't want somebody there. Who was that? Who was
Debbie Halvorson.
Because Debbie what?
Halvorson.
So he thought Debbie Halvorson was too lenient on guns. He's a big gun control guy. So he thought Robin Kelly would be the person he wanted there.
I find that extraordinary. I find that.
Did I have it right though? Is that what that was? He spent several $1 million trying to defeat Debbie Halvorson.
I find his whole premise ironic, because in his city that he's in, he has the most stop and frisk of black men, specifically African Americans, than any other city in the United
It's
States.
interesting you say that because just today, I'll just stop for a second. It's amazing how this stuff comes together. I was listening to, Wolf and Proft. They do this radio show on WLS, and Alderman Cardenas, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, Alderman Cardenas, he was on there, and Bruce Wolf just said something about, he was talking about this energy drink, and that's, that Red Bull or whatever it is too much, and then Wolf threw out, he says, well, what about stop and frisk? What do you think about it? And Cardenas says, I don't really know what that is. And so it's just odd. That happened just as we're taping here on March 6th. Wolf throws out to Cardenas, stop and frisk, he doesn't know what it is. And so Wolf backs off. He says, oh, I don't want to sandbag you, It means that police are stopping you, but we're not going to talk about that. And you're saying Bloomberg has stop and frisk in New York, and you're saying that's a bad thing.
I'm saying that.
Are you saying that? It's a bad thing?
Yeah, not only is it a bad thing, I'm saying
because
that.
a lot of people think it makes New York safer.
No, well, let me say, I want to respond to that. The Jewish community in Nazi Germany found it very offensive that they had to carry papers. For a city like New York that has a heavily population of Jewish people, for a man to use the same racist tactics on black folks in the city of New York, and then all of a sudden he is concerned with a congressional district that's 60% African American?
So are you trying to rally the blacks in the 2nd Congressional District against Bloomberg by saying Bloomberg was racist, don't pay any attention to him, in fact, go against him? Is that your political strategy to win this race?
Well,
kind of sounds that way.
Well, can I?
Because I know a little bit about politics.
Well, I just want to respond. I want to respond to what I'm saying. I'm saying that Tammany Hall in New York, a organized crime family with the 5 families of New York, he ain't pulled none of them over. He hasn't pulled none of the 5 families over, frisked them or nothing. So he ain't trying to get to stop no crime in New York. He is targeting black folks because he is portraying a image to those people up there that the city is more safer. The city ain't more safe. Ain't nothing went down. The same thing been going on. The same people that's been stealing all the money up there, he been letting them do it.
Bring it on home to me, because I'm watching this show here, and I'm in the 2nd Congressional District. This show's airing in Chicago. Part of Chicago's in the 2nd Congressional District. We hope to get it airing in other portions.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit. What geographically, what's the 2nd Congressional District?
The 2nd Congressional District consists of 3 major components. Urban, 3 major wards: the 10th Ward, the 7th Ward, and the 9th Ward. Those are 3 major.
10th, 7th, and 9th.
Now there's some
and
small.
Who's the alderman from the 7th?
The 7th Ward is a new.
Who did it used to be?
It used to be Sandy Jackson.
Okay.
So
she resigned.
Well, she resigned
under duress.
Well, I don't know that. They said that.
So that's Sandy Jackson, 7th, and the 9th. Did you say?
And the 9th is
Who's that?
Alderman Beals. And the 10th,
Alderman Beal?
Alderman Beals, the one that ran for alderman. He ran too.
Anthony Beal.
Yeah.
He ran and lost, okay.
Right, he lost. And then the 10th Ward is Alderman Polk.
Okay.
Okay, so all 3 of that's the first component. That's
how much of the 2nd Congressional District is accounted for by those 3 wards? Very much? Or?
Well, they
150,000 people.
Each ward is.
That could be like 25% of the district, right?
I would say because you have 700,000 people in the district.
Right.
Right there, that is supposed to be 50,000 to 60,000 in a ward.
Wards, 160,000.
So 3 times 50 is 150,000.
So it's about 25% of the districts in that ward.
Right, it's about a quarter.
All right. What else? I just want to keep moving along.
So you have the suburban.
And what are some of those areas there?
Cook.
Give me some of the names of them.
Well, you have Flossmoor, Harvey, Robbins, Markham, Stager, Matson,
Creek.
Creek. You're kind of getting into the sticks when you get to Creek. So when you start talking about Creek and Monique and
out in the boonies.
Well, what you're doing now, you're getting into the rural area.
You're getting to Will County.
Just rural. Okay. You don't have to say.
Kankakee though is also in there.
Kankakee is in it, and it's in its own county too. Right. So you got Kankakee and you got Will. So you got the suburban
now those people,
area.
Just excuse me. Those people who are in all these areas you just mentioned, and they're watching the show.
Okay.
We only got 20 minutes left. what do they most want to hear in terms of a comparison between you and Robin Kelly? Because that's their choice at the moment. I mean, there's a Green Party candidate, but I'd say the major party choices, you, okay, Paul McKinley, Republican nominee, and Robin Kelly, Democratic nominee. So what do those people want to know about you relative to Robin Kelly?
First of all, Robin Kelly, whole premise of her running, it goes back to the machine. It goes back to Chicago, where they have the lakeside development in the 7th and the 10th Ward. It is the largest development in North America.
It's an economic development, or what?
It is the largest development in North America.
Okay. What are they developing?
Well, they're developing a jet set type community where they're going to be building 15,000 new units over there, and one of them houses may cost $5 to $10 to $15.
So why do the people care who live in those wards?
It's the work.
They want the jobs?
Who's going to get the money?
Are they going to get the jobs?
No, they're not going to get the jobs. They're not getting the jobs right now.
Somebody else is going to get the jobs.
They're not getting the jobs right now.
So if you're the congressman, are you going to, if you're the congressman instead of Robin Kelly, are you going to help them?
First of all, I would bring a congressional hearing in and go after the unions, because the unions are directly discriminating against African Americans right now.
So we just got that graphic up on the set, don't look, but it says who creates jobs? Who creates jobs? Do you do it? Does the private market do it? Who built it? Remember Obama said that. He said, you know, the market didn't build it, we built it. We put the streets there, we put the sewers, the government. So does the government create jobs, or does the private market create jobs?
Congress funds the Department of Transportation. Congress funds the Department of Education.
So they have a lot to say about creating jobs.
Well, the money this is how it goes. The money comes down from Congress and it comes to the state. When the state get the money, they chop the money up with Michael Madigan. Michael Madigan takes the
Robin
money.
Kelly would say, look, she knows Rahm, she knows Michael Madigan, she'll help
She's
get
one of
jobs.
them. She's one of them.
So
She should know.
she'll bring jobs here.
She the same thing they
She'll
do.
say, you can't do anything, you don't know these people.
They know me.
Yeah,
Each one of them people I just named, they know me.
Michael Madigan's going to give jobs because of you?
No, he need to be under congressional hearing.
You're going to investigate
All of them
Madigan?
need to be, look, you ain't nothing gonna change. This state is broke
Okay.
underneath them people. Them people need to be put under investigation on where this money went, how they stole the money.
Okay.
They're bringing billions of dollars to this state back every year, and they done broke the state. They
So
done
you're
broke
saying
the people.
Kelly can't be trusted to investigate these people, but you're saying she's
She said ain't nothing wrong with it.
She says she's a part of that. She's a
She
part of the
feels
machine.
there's nothing wrong with it and that everything is fine.
What about education? Is there a difference between you and Robin Kelly in
I believe
terms
in
of
choice.
school choice, school vouchers?
I said I believe in choice. I don't believe in the structure that they have, because the structure that they have, what they call
Chicago Public Schools. Robin Kelly, I think, when she was here, and we hope Robin will come back and debate the issues with you. Would you like that?
I don't have no problem with it.
Okay. Because Robin Kelly was here, and was very happy that she came here during the primary. I hope she'll come back. And I think she said, you know, not so much for school voucher, school choice. She believes in the Chicago public schools, traditional public schools. Can't remember what she said about charter schools. I have to take a look at that.
She never went to them. She's not even from Chicago. I went to public schools instead of Chicago.
Well, but do they perform well, or do you think that the public schools, traditional public schools, need the spur of competition in the form of either charter schools or voucher schools? Do you think that?
No, that's a loaded question. Let me answer
It's
it.
not a loaded question.
Well, let me answer it the way I want to
Okay,
answer it.
sure.
Okay. I believe in choice, but I don't believe in the choice that the Democratic Party give us. The Democratic Party, when they're talking about charter schools and when they're talking about voucher schools, they're talking about corporatizing and monopolizing it. So that's why it doesn't work. Most of the times when they're closing a school down, there's nothing wrong with that school. And every time they close a school down, a child is murdered. You go back. I protested.
Nothing wrong with the school, but
Every time they
do you know
close
how
a
many
school
kids
down.
in the fourth grade? Do you know how many black kids read at grade level in the fourth grade in the Chicago public schools?
Who fault is that?
No, I just asked, just give me a number. What number do you think? 10%, 20%,
They say
80%?
40% of the people that are supposed to graduate quit. Just walk out of school.
Okay, but they also, only 20% of the black kids in the fourth grade in the Chicago public schools read at grade level. 80% are reading at less than grade level. Is that a problem? Is that a problem for those 80% who aren't reading at grade level? Do you want to do something to help them?
Can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
Sure.
I did not learn how to read in public school. I learned how to read in the penitentiaries in the state of Illinois. So can't nobody tell me more how the educational system has failed African Americans. Okay. I lived it. So I'm saying to you that when they're saying that they're moving to charter schools and military schools and all these different schools, they're not giving you no choice. Yeah. These so-called charter schools, these so-called schools that they're talking about, that they show on TV as marvels of education, that they're graduating 100% of the student, is called creaming. Creaming is where you got 100 students, and when you see that 30 of them is not going to graduate, you find all kind of problems, transfer them, fire them, get them out to school. So the same 70 graduate, but what happened to the other 30? See, Chicago is corrupt. You're not going to solve the problem without dealing with the corruption in CPS. And them children that are getting killed in the city of Chicago are directly responsible of the people that's in charge. Mike Madigan, the governor, and Ron Emanuel. Ron Emanuel is more at fault, because he created the circumstance. Yeah. He is the main perpetrator of it. So I got to say this now, when you vote for these people, when you vote for these machines,
well, the choice is between you and Robin Kelly.
No, it's between Ron Caligula's Manuel and the King of New York, because she's a flunky for them. You're trying to make it seem like I'm running against a person. I'm running against a mechanized structure that you don't have no choice. Them people didn't make no choice and ask Bloomberg to come in and do those commercials. Ain't nobody asked him to do that. He done that and he done it, didn't have no consequence behind it.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about gun control?
I believe by me having a violent past.
Tell the people about your violent past.
Well, I'm an ex-offender. I've been to the penitentiary
for robbery. When were you to the penitentiary?
I first went to the penitentiary in 1978. I was 18 years old for robbery.
That would be 34 years ago.
Yeah, I was 18 years old.
Okay.
So when I went
to
jail,
was it a misdemeanor or was it a felony?
That was armed robbery. I went to
felony. That was a felony.
With a gun. I went to jail.
You're an ex-felon.
Right. I'm an ex-felon.
Okay.
6 times.
Ex-offender.
Right. I went to the jail.
You're the kind of person Danny Davis says he wants to give a second chance to. He's got an ex-offender legislation. Right?
He didn't fund it. He didn't fund it. He didn't get no funding for the second chance.
He never did. I thought he got President Bush to help him.
And he made sure that every other state was funded because he was not trying to fund the problem in his state.
Well, have you ever talked to Danny Davis about supporting you?
Several times.
Will he support you because you're an ex-offender?
Well, he should.
Have you asked him?
He just should do it anyway. Okay. I shouldn't have to ask him. He should do what's right.
Well, so that's what you did when you were 18.
Okay.
How long would you say?
No, let's go back to the gun law. Let's go back to, do I believe in a person having self-defense?
Yeah, do you believe somebody should have
self-defense? I believe that a
self-defense?
person should have self-defense because if you don't have people who can defend themselves, then you leave them people at the mercy of people who don't have no mercy.
So people in Chicago, until a few years ago, they couldn't defend themselves. They couldn't legally own a gun in their home. The Supreme Court said that was unconstitutional, and now the law changed. Now people in Chicago can own a gun in their home, and you would agree with the Supreme Court. You think that's good? That
it's the law of the land.
Okay, and
it's the law of the land all the time.
But aside from that, you're saying it was a good public policy change to allow a person in his or her home, a citizen, to have their own gun in their home.
To defend themselves. They should be able to defend themselves wherever they work a business. People got businesses.
Do you know the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals has recently said the Illinois law on concealed carry is unconstitutional because it's the only state in the United States that doesn't have legislation that allows people to have concealed carry, to carry a gun that's concealed. And they said you've got 6 months, the state legislature, to draft legislation that provides an opportunity for people to carry a gun that's concealed. Put aside the legal issues, the legal interpretation. Do you think that's a good policy that people in Illinois ought to be able to apply for the permit to carry a concealed gun? They may have to take classes, they may have to get trained, they may have to show they're proficient, whatever, okay? But assuming that the legislation looks something like that, do you think that's a good idea that people ought to be able to carry a concealed gun in Illinois?
I believe citizens. In this so-called society that we live in a free society, should be able to defend themselves. I believe if they got businesses, that they need to be able to defend themselves at their home. They need to defend their children. They need to defend
themselves when they're transiting from one area to another. They may be carrying money from their business. Somebody may come up to them.
They may feel threatened.
They need that gun, and it's better to be concealed because then the person doesn't know if they have the gun.
They may feel threatened on several reasons. Women coming home at night.
So you favor concealed carry?
I favor people being able to defend themselves.
Does Robin Kelly differ from you on that, do you think?
Robin Kelly and the liberal agenda has done the African American community, and this is why Bloomberg is up with this, because he has a real disdain for our people. In 1987 and 1989, they ruled that the people in the projects on State Street was not allowed, the administrative rule, saying that the people in the projects in CHA was not allowed to bear arms or be in possessions of weapons in the projects. Once they disarmed all the people on State Street, and they ought to indict Mayor Daley for this, and they ought to indict the aldermen who were a part of this. Once they disarmed them people, they left the people in the projects at the mercy of those who did not have no mercy. Yeah. So then you had a lot of murder and killing and drug dealing. It's an ugly thing to talk about. Do you
think, as you make these arguments in the next month, do you think people in the 2nd Congressional District, in the areas you mentioned, in Homewood, in the other suburbs, far south in Cook County, in Kankakee, in Will County, do you think these people are going to say, we like this guy, Paul McKinley. We're going to support Paul McKinley, a Republican, over Robin Kelly, a Democrat. Do you think that? That's mainly their choice.
Okay, good. Well, I would like to respond to that.
Okay.
First of all, in the city of Chicago, the 7th Ward, 10th Ward, and the 9th Ward, those people are being gentrified out of their neighborhoods. The people in Peatone, who they're talking about a alleged airport, a mythical airport, since 1965, they're trying to gentrify them out of their farms. The people that's in the south suburbs who are the victims of the mortgage crisis fiasco, who, by the way, they just won a suit saying that some bank owed, and they took $600 million, but they have not made any effort to go back and find the victims of the mortgage crisis. They haven't found none of them to help them. What about their dreams?
Okay.
Isn't a house a dream? Isn't the American dream is to own a house?
So you mentioned Peatone. Does that mean you don't favor Peatone as a third airport?
It was a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
It was a complete Ponzi scheme. The whole thing was a lie.
Okay, so
the third airport is in Gary, Indiana. They're building a runway right now.
Do you think there should be a third airport in Peatone, or do you think there should be a third airport in Gary?
There's already being.
There's one in Gary now.
Wait, can I respond to you? Okay. Can I respond to you? Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, I move around. When you tell me something, I go find out if you're telling me the truth.
Okay.
You can go to Gary, Indiana right now. It's on my website, Paul McKinley for Congress. I went out there. Their wash from Chicago is building the runway right now. Okay. They're not building a runway for an airport and only one airport land a week over there. That is the third airport. What they're doing in Peatone has the most 1% of the most fertile land on earth is in Peatone. They're not trying to put no cement on that land. That land is worth its weight in gold.
So they bought the land and they're going to give it to their friends? Is that what you're saying?
They're taking the land. They're gentrifying the land.
Eminent domain, is that what they're doing?
They're gentrifying the farmers' land so that they can have a super farm down there.
So what would you do? Would you build?
First of all, them people need to be investigated.
But put the investigation aside from it. Would you favor putting an airport in Peatone or in Gary, if that's the choice?
It's not going to be no airport in Peatone. Oh, that's a Ponzi scheme.
Well, what would you want to do? I'm not asking what will be done. What would you, Paul McKinley, want to do?
Do? All,
what do you want to do?
I would not agree. I want to respond.
Okay.
Seeming
we only had 5 minutes left.
Seeming how that the Democrats are all about green. Why would I take asphalt and cement and put it on some of the most fertile land on earth.
So what would you do to create jobs, or would you do anything to create jobs in the 2nd Congressional District?
They already got the money to create the jobs. Is the people going to be able to get them?
Okay.
They finna do the Ileana Highway. The people that want the Ileana Highway want it down at Hobson Park and Pembroke, Peatone. The people in Peatone don't want them to put the Ileana Highway on their fertile land. All you got to do is bring it down and put it where the people want it at. Give the people what they want. Stop the politicians using this speculation.
Yeah.
They use speculation to stealing people's land.
Okay.
That's what they was doing down there to the people.
We got to cover in 5 minutes a few other topics. Let me switch over to social issues.
Okay.
Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
Well,
on abortion, on the issue of abortion.
I'm pro-life.
Okay. Do you think a woman should have a right to have an abortion only if her life is at issue, or if her health is at issue, or never? What do you think?
Well, I'm pro-life.
Well, what does it mean? Should a woman ever be allowed to have an abortion?
Let me respond.
Okay.
Let me respond. You asked me a question.
Okay.
I'm pro-life, and I have a serious problem with family planning, which there have been 13 million abortions in the African American community, which have more abortion clinics than any other ethnic group in America. I think that they're using abortion in our community as a form of genocide, and this needs to be investigated.
But would you ever allow, if you could set the law, you can't, but if you could, would you ever allow a woman the opportunity to have an abortion?
Abortion is the law of the land. I can't change that.
But if you had the opportunity, would you like to?
It's the law of the land. I can't change it.
Do you think people of the same sex should be allowed to marry?
I'm a Christian, so me as an individual, I believe that a man and a wife is the only person that can get married. I don't believe that same sex, and I don't believe that homosexuality has anything to do with it. I believe that that's the gay agenda, which is set up by a few rich billionaire white men who are perpetrating a fraud and to keep the people confused. And why is that important anyway?
Okay. On foreign policy, did we do the right thing, the United States, to go into Iraq, or was that a mistake?
It seemed like we was going in Afghanistan to deal with a...
We went into Iraq. We went into Afghanistan initially. Was that the right thing, to take out those training camps in Afghanistan? Was that the right thing?
From my research, I believe that may have been the right thing.
Okay. Was it then right to go into Iraq, as the United States did?
Now you're getting into the weeds, because now it seems like that may have been something personal. It may not have been something personal. But once Congress had ruled on it...
Is it time to bring the troops home? Isn't that what Obama's doing? They said that 30 years ago. George McGovern said, "Come home, America." Is it time for America to come home?
Well, I think so.
Okay. Let's touch on this issue of redemption. You said when you were 18, you committed some felonies. You found yourself in jail. You learned how to read when you were in prison. When did that life of crime stop? It started when you were 18. When did it stop?
In 1984, 85, a woman by the name of Mother Consuela York came to visit us and said that you just getting your life together is not enough. You must go back out in society and do street repentance and try to correct those.
Crime stopped for you in 1985? Have you been clean since?
Yeah, I ain't never been arrested for no.
Okay.
I've been arrested for the politicians arrested me.
We very much want to thank Paul McKinley. Thank you so much, Paul, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Paul is running for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. He is the Republican nominee. It appears as of March 6th. It was a close race, and you are the